Paige, your Watersheds educator with the Fraser Valley Watersheds Coalition. Today I went out into the field with our Fraser Valley Watersheds field crew with Winter, our field supervisor, and Bridget and Renee, both restoration field technicians. So they taught me how we fish trap. In this video we're going to learn how we fish trap and why we fish trap. Let's take a look. So the supplies we need for fish trapping include a trap. This one's a minnow trap. We need measuring tools, nets, as well as a scale. Usually we set the traps for 24 hours. Here we have Winter and Renee retrieving the trap and emptying the fish into the bucket with water. We use two types of bait to entice the little fish. We use cat food as well as roe, which is fish eggs. So we're all ready to measure, count, and weigh the fish we caught. Renee's putting water into the measuring tool so that the fish stay alive. Now she's caught a fish with the net, and you can see she carefully transfers it into the measuring tool. And do you see how she's put her hand over top? That is so that the fish doesn't jump out. Now we're going to weigh the fish. Bridget places it on the scale here. We do this part quickly to get the fish back into the water as soon as possible. We record the weight, the measurement, as well as the species and the number of each species we get. We caught a juvenile salmon. How exciting! This one is a coho salmon, and it's quite large. Looks like it might be transitioning into the smolt stage, so it could be heading out to the ocean soon. We identify it by the paw marks on the center of its body, evenly spaced, and the anal fin, which has a white edge to it and is longer than it is wide. So we caught another juvenile coho salmon. But do you notice this one's a little bit smaller and looks just a bit different? So this one will probably stay in the stream for another year before it goes out to the ocean. However, how we identify it is very similar to the smolt. So we ID it from the paw marks on the center of its body that are evenly spaced, and the anal fin, which is longer than it is wide and has a white edge. This little one wanted back into the water fast. We also caught a 3-spined stickleback. 3-spined sticklebacks are found abundantly in the Fraser Valley. As you can see in this photo, we identify the 3-spined stickleback by the 3 spines along its back. So after we have measured, weighed, identified, and counted all of the fish we caught, we release them back into the water, specifically at the same place where we caught them. It's really wonderful that salmon are using the habitats that the Fraser Valley Watersheds Coalition has made. Salmon are an indicator of a healthy habitat because they're sensitive to habitat changes. They're a keystone species in BC and very important to Indigenous culture. The number of traps that we set at each site is determined by why we're trapping, the number of habitat types within the site, as well as how large the site is. So what we do before we release the fish is we count how many of each species there are, we record their body length, and we weigh them just to get an average of the size and number of how many fish we catch. Paige, your Watersheds educator with the Fraser Valley Watersheds Coalition. I hope you learned a little bit about fish trapping as well as the species and why we fish trap. Thank you so much for watching.